The colony of Arendor was quiet in the early hours of the morning. Mist clung to the jagged cliffs and the twin suns had just begun to peek over the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. Captain Elias Morrow walked along the main plaza, the soft hum of the colony's power cores filling the air. For months he had worked tirelessly to ensure the settlement ran smoothly, repairing machinery, managing resources, and overseeing construction. Life was hard here, but it was peaceful, at least for now. Elias was a tall man with broad shoulders and calloused hands. He had seen hardships before, but nothing could have prepared him for what was about to arrive. The first warning came as a flicker on the colony's sensors, an unfamiliar energy reading that pulsed across the scanners like a heartbeat. Elias frowned, sensing danger. He ran toward the command center, his boots striking the metal walkways with urgency. "Report," he shouted as he entered the control room. Lieutenant Caravens looked up, her face pale. "Sir, it's the Zirath. They're coming." Elias felt a chill run down his spine. The Zirath were a mysterious alien species known for their psychic abilities. They were rarely hostile, but when they were, they struck with precision and power that no human weapon could fully resist. "How long until they arrive?" Elias asked, gripping the edge of the console. "Less than 10 minutes, Kara replied, her voice trembling. "Sensors are picking up multiple vessels, all descending on the colony at once." Elias took a deep breath. "Alert the citizens. Evacuate them to the underground shelters. And get the defense turrets online. Everyone who can fight, fight." Panic spread quickly as alarms blared. Families rushed to gather their children, and workers abandoned their stations, clutching whatever supplies they could carry. The Zirath ships appeared over the cliffs like dark shadows, their sleek forms glinting in the sunlight. A low, humming vibration filled the air, a sound that seemed to touch every nerve in Elias's body. And then, the first attack came. Energy beams shot from the alien ships, tearing through buildings and machinery. The colony's defenses fired back, but human weapons barely scratched the Zirath's shields. People screamed, running in every direction as chaos erupted. Elias grabbed a plasma rifle and sprinted toward the central plaza, where the most vulnerable civilians were gathered. Through the smoke and debris, he spotted a small group trapped near the children's school. Among them was a young girl, barely 10 years old, her face pale and terrified. Elias ran to her, lifting her into his arms. "It's going to be okay," he said, though his heart pounded with fear. "I won't let anything happen to you." But this was no ordinary attack. The Zirath were not here to kill randomly. They had a purpose. As Elias shielded the girl, a figure emerged from one of the alien ships. A woman taller than any human, with silver blue skin that shimmered in the sunlight, and eyes that glowed faintly with intelligence beyond comprehension. The Queen. Her voice rang inside Elias's mind, not as sound but as thought, clear, sharp, and demanding. "Human," she said, "your colony's actions have consequences. One life for another. A choice must be made." Elias froze. He did not fully understand her words at first, but the images that followed were horrifyingly clear. The Zirath Queen's daughter lay injured inside their vessel, writhing in pain from a psychic wound that no human medicine could heal. The Queen had chosen this moment to demand a human sacrifice to save her child. He could not, would not, let a child die if there was a way to prevent it. But the cost the Queen demanded was unimaginable. "You want me to endure her pain?" Elias asked aloud, though he already sensed the answer. The Queen's eyes bore into his mind. Yes, every instinct screamed to refuse, to run, to protect himself. But Elias looked at the young human girl in his arms, and then thought of the countless lives that would be lost if the Zirath became enraged. And above all, he saw the innocent face of the Zirath child, suffering through no fault of her own. "I will do it," he said. The Queen extended a hand, and Elias felt a force pulling at him, an invisible pressure that pressed against his body and mind. Pain unlike anything he had ever known coursed through him instantly, searing his nerves and muscles. He fell to his knees, gasping, tears streaming down his face. The energy of the Zirath child's suffering was flowing into him, and every scream, every pang, every heartbreak became his own. He wanted to scream, but he did not. He wanted to collapse, but he did not. He clung to the girl in his arms and whispered, "It's okay. You're safe. I've got you." Time lost meaning. Minutes or hours passed, he could not tell. The Queen's psychic grip was relentless, filling his mind with visions of suffering, loss, and despair. Yet amidst the pain, Elias's resolve hardened. His human body and mind could endure more than even the Zirath expected. His determination, his compassion, and his sheer willpower became a shield against the agony. Finally, the pain began to subside, though he remained on his knees, shaking and sweating. He looked up and saw the Zirath child standing, healed, her eyes wide with innocence and wonder. She stepped forward and touched his shoulder gently, as if sensing the sacrifice he had made. Elias managed a weak smile. "You're safe now," he whispered. The Queen's gaze softened, though it remained commanding. She raised her hand and her ships retreated into the sky, leaving the colony in silence. The damage was significant, but the lives lost were far fewer than they could have been. Elias had saved not only the Zirath child, but countless humans as well. People emerged from shelters, staring at him with awe and disbelief. For a moment he was a hero, though Elias felt far from it. He had endured unspeakable pain for the sake of a child who was not even human, and that endurance had saved lives. Kara approached him, her eyes wide. "Captain, how did you survive?" Elias shook his head slowly. "I don't know," he admitted. I had to." The colony began the slow process of rebuilding, and Elias was quietly carried on the shoulders of those who had witnessed his bravery. Yet even as cheers rang out, he knew this was only the beginning. The Queen had seen him endure what no other being could, and her attention was now focused entirely on him. That night, as Elias sat alone on the cliff overlooking the colony, he felt a strange presence, a whisper in his mind. It was the Queen, not as a threat but as an observer. "You have something rare, human," she said. "Something I will not forget. You have endured what others could not, and for that you have my attention. Forever." Elias clenched his fists. He did not fully understand what this meant, but he felt the weight of destiny pressing upon him. Humanity had survived this day not because of weapons or technology, but because of one man's courage, his refusal to turn away from suffering, and his willingness to sacrifice himself for the innocent. For the first time in weeks, Elias allowed himself to rest. He did not yet know what the future held, but one thing was certain. He had shown the Zirath and himself what humans were truly capable of. And somewhere, high above in her vessel orbiting the planet, the Zirath Queen observed. Her mind was calculating, her interest piqued. A human had endured her child's pain and lived. Such strength, resilience, and spirit. It was rare, even among her own kind. She would remember this, and one day she would come for him. But for now, Elias closed his eyes, the twin suns setting behind him, and allowed himself to breathe. He had survived the unthinkable. Humanity had survived too. The sun rose over the colony of Arendor, painting the sky with soft gold and purple hues. Smoke still drifted from the edges of the damaged buildings, and the air carried the scent of scorched metal and dust. The colony was alive, but it bore the scars of the Zirath attack. People were quiet, their faces heavy with exhaustion, but there was a glimmer of hope, a knowledge that they had survived. Captain Elias Morrow stood at the edge of the plaza, leaning against a half-repaired support beam. His body still ached from the psychic trauma he had endured. Every nerve felt raw, and his head throbbed with the lingering echo of the Zirath child's pain. Yet despite the agony, he had a small sense of relief. The colony had survived. The child had survived. Lieutenant Kara Venz approached, her pace hurried but careful. She had spent the night coordinating repairs and checking on civilians. Her face, normally calm and composed, now showed both concern and admiration. "Captain," she said, her voice soft but firm, "the colony is stable. Most of the civilians are safe. The shelters held up well, and we've accounted for nearly everyone." Elias nodded, his eyes scanning the damaged buildings. "Good work, Kara, but it's not enough to just survive. We need to rebuild stronger this time. And we need to prepare for them." He didn't finish the sentence, but Kara understood. "They'll come again," she said quietly. "The Queen will send someone. Or maybe herself." Elias's jaw tightened. "I don't know if I'm ready for her attention." Kara studied him for a moment, noting the deep shadows under his eyes and the stiffness in his movements. "Captain, you survived something no human should ever survive. You endured her daughter's pain. That alone is something extraordinary." Elias looked down, trying to shrug off her praise. "I just did what I had to. That's all." But Kara wasn't convinced. "Humans don't usually endure what you endured, Elias. You did something no one else could." People are calling you a hero." A small crowd of colonists had begun gathering nearby, some timid, some curious. They watched Elias whispering to each other. Parents held their children a little tighter, and workers paused to nod respectfully. Whispers grew into murmurs of admiration. Elias felt uncomfortable. He had always shied away from attention. Heroism to him was not about praise. It was about surviving and protecting others. Still, he could not ignore the truth. His actions had saved lives. Not just the Zirath child, but the humans of the colony as well. That realization was a heavy weight on his shoulders, mingled with exhaustion and lingering pain. As Elias walked toward the makeshift medical center, he noticed a small figure approaching him. It was the Zirath child, walking cautiously with the assistance of a nurse. Her silver-blue hair shimmered faintly in the morning light, and her eyes, so alien and yet innocent, were fixed on him. She stopped a few feet away and tilted her head. In her soft, melodic voice, she spoke directly to his mind, a feature of her species. "Are you well, human?" Elias crouched slightly, trying to meet her gaze. "I'm managing," he admitted. "And you? How are you feeling?" The child smiled faintly. "Better. Thanks to you," Elias blinked. It was strange to hear gratitude from someone so different from himself, yet he felt a warmth he had not experienced in a long time. Despite the pain and trauma, he had done something that mattered. As the days passed, the colony slowly returned to life. Repairs were underway, and children began playing again in the safer parts of the settlement. But Elias found little peace. The psychic transfer had left traces in his mind, visions of suffering that occasionally resurfaced in dreams or in quiet moments. He saw flashes of pain from the Zirath child's experience, moments of fear and terror he could not shake. At night he would sit alone on the cliffs overlooking the colony, staring at the horizon. He wondered why he had survived when others might have perished. He wondered why the Zirath queen had singled him out. The answers were not clear, but he felt a strange awareness, a sense that his life had changed forever. One evening, while Elias was tending to some minor repairs on the colony's perimeter sensors, a small vessel approached silently. Unlike the Zirath warships, this one was sleek and non-threatening. From it emerged a Zirath emissary, a diplomat, observing him closely but not imposing any immediate threat. "Captain Elias Morrow," the emissary spoke, her voice calm but resonant in his mind. "The Queen wishes to speak with you." Elias tensed but did not show fear. I'm not sure I understand why." "You survived what no human has survived," the emissary said. "You endured the pain of her child. She is intrigued by your endurance, your spirit, and your will. She wishes to observe you further." Elias shook his head. "I'm not a specimen. I'm just a man trying to protect my home." The emissary's glowing eyes softened, though they remained serious. "That is precisely what the Queen wishes to understand. She does not seek to harm you. She seeks to learn why humans, unlike other species, can endure such pain and still act with courage and compassion. You are exceptional." Exceptional. Elias did not know how to feel. Part of him wanted to reject the attention entirely, to hide from it. But another part, the part that had fought through agony and saved a child, felt a quiet pride. Maybe, just maybe, humans could be recognized for more than their weaknesses. As the days turned into weeks, the Queen's interest became more apparent. Small emissaries visited the colony, observing daily life, studying how humans lived, worked, and interacted. They asked questions, sometimes subtly, sometimes bluntly, but never intrusively. Elias noticed that their presence was always accompanied by a strange tension in the air, as if the aliens were waiting for something remarkable to happen. Meanwhile, Elias began to rebuild not just the colony but himself. He trained his body, not for war but for endurance. He studied the alien technology they had left behind, learning how it worked and how humans could use it. His mind, though scarred, grew sharper. Every day he reminded himself that humanity had survived the unthinkable, and that their strength lay not in their weapons, but in their resilience, compassion, and ingenuity. One afternoon, while Elias was repairing a damaged energy relay near the cliffs, he saw the Zirath child again. She had wandered to the edge of the colony, looking at the human settlements with curiosity. "You are strong," she said simply. "The Queen says you are different." Elias smiled faintly, wiping sweat from his brow. "I just do what needs to be done." She tilted her head. That is why she watches you. She wants to understand humans. The words made Elias uneasy. Why would an alien queen care so deeply about him? Why would she observe him as if he were unique? And yet, the thought also carried a strange sense of honor. Humans, fragile as they seemed, had survived where many other species might have failed. Perhaps there was something truly remarkable in that. As the weeks passed, whispers of his deeds spread beyond the colony. Nearby settlements began sending emissaries, eager to meet the human who had endured what even the most advanced species feared. Children spoke of him in hushed tones as a hero, and adults nodded respectfully when they mentioned his name. Elias remained humble, quietly focusing on rebuilding the colony and protecting those who lived there. But he could not escape the awareness that the Queen's attention was constant. He felt it in subtle ways, a lingering presence, a fleeting glimpse of a silver-blue vessel in orbit, or the sudden silence of a sensor reading. She was studying him, learning what it meant to be human, and deep down Elias realized that his life had changed forever. One night, as Elias sat on the cliffs under the stars, he thought of the future. He thought of the child he had saved, the colony he had protected, and the strange, powerful species that now watched him. He understood that the days ahead would bring new challenges, tests of endurance, courage, and morality. But he also understood that humanity had something no other species could replicate, a combination of resilience, compassion, and determination that could survive even the unthinkable. The stars above seemed to shimmer with possibility. Somewhere out there, the Zirath Queen observed, and her mind was filled with questions that only Elias and humanity could answer. For the first time since the attack, Elias felt a flicker of hope. Not just for himself, but for all of humanity. They had endured. They had survived. And now they would show the universe what it meant to be human. The horizon of Arendor glowed with the first light of dawn when the distant shimmer appeared in the sky. At first it was just a dot, barely visible against the rising suns, but it grew rapidly, reflecting the sunlight in sharp streaks of silver and blue. Captain Elias Morrow felt a chill run down his spine. He had seen Zirath vessels before, but never one like this. Massive, regal, and unmistakably different. This was not an attack. This was a deliberate arrival. Lieutenant Kara Venz approached him, urgency in her step. Captain, that ship. It's different. It's not a battlecruiser. It's something else. A palace vessel, maybe? Elias clenched his fists. It doesn't matter. Prepare the colony defenses anyway, and alert the people. We don't know what she intends. The vessel descended slowly, almost gracefully, hovering over the colony with an elegance that seemed impossible for its size. A hum filled the air, a soft vibration that resonated in the bones, neither threatening nor comforting, but undeniably powerful. Elias stood at the edge of the plaza, watching as a ramp extended from the ship. From it emerged a figure so striking that even the hardened colonists paused in awe. The Zirath Queen had come herself. Her form was taller than any human, her silver-blue skin glinting under the suns. Her eyes glowed faintly, a mixture of curiosity, authority, and something more, interest. Every movement she made was fluid, precise, and regal, as if she commanded not just the ship but the very air around her. The colony fell silent. Children clutched their parents' hands. Workers froze mid-step. Even Lieutenant Kara's usual composure wavered. But Elias remained steady. He knew this moment could define the future of the colony and perhaps of humanity itself. The Queen stopped a few meters away, her gaze locking directly onto Elias. It was as if she could see every thought, every fear, every memory, and maybe she could. Captain Elias Morrow. Her voice resonated in his mind, clear and melodic. You have endured pain beyond what most species could imagine. You have saved lives without hesitation. That courage, that endurance. It is rare. Elias swallowed, keeping his voice firm. I did what anyone would do. I protected those who could not protect themselves. The Queen's eyes seemed to shimmer with interest. Perhaps. But few would endure what you did and remain human in spirit. Others would have broken. Others would have surrendered. You are different. Elias felt a mix of pride and unease. He had survived the psychic pain of her daughter, but the Queen's presence now amplified every memory of it. A faint pressure pressed against his mind, not painful but probing, like a finger touching the surface of a deep wound. Why are you here? He asked, keeping his voice steady.
Are you testing us?
Threatening us or rewarding us? The Queen's lips curved slightly, almost a smile. None of those, yet all of them in some measure. I have come to observe, to understand. Humans are unique. Your species is fragile yet astonishingly resilient. Your minds can endure what others cannot. Your hearts guide your actions where logic alone would fail. You are a study, yes, but one I find compelling. Elias narrowed his eyes. So I am your subject? You are a subject, yes, the Queen admitted, her voice softening. But not merely for study. I wish to learn why you endure, why you choose courage over survival, compassion over self-interest. You survived my daughter's pain, and for that, you have my attention. A hush fell over the colony as the Queen's words reverberated in the minds of all who could hear the faint psychic impression of her presence. Humans had survived attacks before, but never had they been singled out in this way. Never had they been seen, not just as beings of flesh and blood, but as creatures of spirit and will. Elias took a deep breath. I am human. I endure because I must. I fight because I care, not for recognition, not for reward, but because it is right. The Queen's gaze softened, though it remained intense. Then you are unlike any I have known. Perhaps that is why I am here. To witness your choices, to see how humanity measures itself against the universe. You intrigue me. As the Queen spoke, small devices floated around her, scanning, recording, and observing without intrusion. Elias noticed the subtle ways she tested the colony. Not harming, but challenging. Sensors shifted, energy flows were adjusted, and he realized she was measuring every detail. Every reaction, every human decision. For days, the Queen remained in the colony, her presence both unsettling and awe-inspiring. She did not speak to the humans directly, but her daughter often moved among them, playing with children, observing Elias from a distance. The young Zirath, now fully healed, radiated innocence, yet Elias could sense a spark of power and intelligence that was frighteningly advanced. Elias found himself drawn into a silent game of endurance. Every decision he made, every action was watched, analyzed. He repaired machinery under her observation, coordinated defenses during minor threats, and even mediated disputes among the colonists, all while carrying the lingering echoes of psychic pain in his mind. One evening, as the suns dipped behind the jagged cliffs, Elias stood on the edge of the colony. Watching the Zirath daughter play with human children, she laughed, a sound that was both alien and utterly human in its warmth. Elias felt a strange bond forming, not just between himself and her, but between humans and Zirath. Perhaps the Queen's attention was not entirely dangerous. Perhaps it was. An opportunity. Kara approached, her expression wary. Captain, she's observing everything. Even when we think she's gone, she's still here. The Queen, she's testing you. Testing all of us. Elias nodded, his gaze fixed on the young Zirath. Yes, and we have to be ready. Not just for her tests, but for what comes after. Humans survive because we endure, because we choose to act when others would falter. We can't let fear dictate our actions. The days became weeks. Elias grew stronger, not just physically, but mentally. He learned to anticipate the Queen's subtle challenges, to respond with calm and ingenuity. When minor accidents occurred in the colony, equipment failures, small disputes, he handled them efficiently, demonstrating human resilience and leadership. The Queen seemed pleased. Her presence, once intimidating, began to feel like a measure, a gauge of humanity's potential. She observed his every move, noting how humans responded under pressure, how they coordinated, how they endured. And Elias, though wary, understood that this was a chance to show what humans could achieve. One evening, the Queen approached him personally, stepping from the shadows of her vessel's landing bay. Her silver blue eyes locked onto his, and for the first time, Elias felt the weight of her fascination fully. You have grown stronger, she said. Your endurance is remarkable. Your spirit, it is rare even among your own kind. I had expected weakness, hesitation, failure. Instead, I see courage, clarity, and wisdom beyond what I anticipated. Elias met her gaze. I do what is necessary. That is all any human can do. The Queen tilted her head slightly, her expression unreadable. You are correct. But what you endure, what you choose, is not simply necessity. It is an extraordinary. Perhaps that is why I am here. Perhaps that is why you have caught my attention. Elias did not fully understand her words, but he felt a mix of pride and unease. He had survived psychic pain no human should endure, and now the most powerful alien in the galaxy was watching him. His life had changed forever. As the sun set behind the cliffs, Elias stood with Kara at his side. The colony was quiet, peaceful for the first time in weeks. And yet, both knew that the Queen's presence was a test, a challenge, and an opportunity all at once. Elias looked up at the sky, where the silver-blue vessel hovered like a guardian, or a judge. Humanity had survived the unthinkable. They had endured psychic agony, alien attacks, and political uncertainty. And now, with the Queen observing, Elias realized that their greatest challenge and their greatest chance was just beginning. The Zirath Queen had arrived. She was watching, and she was learning. Elias clenched his fists, feeling the lingering echoes of pain but also the fire of determination in his heart. He had proven humans could endure. He had proven humans could act with courage and compassion, and now, he would show that even in the presence of the most powerful alien in the galaxy, humanity would not falter. Somewhere in the ship above, the Queen's eyes glowed faintly, her mind calculating, observing, and understanding. Elias Morrow was not merely a human who had survived. He was a symbol of human potential, endurance, and spirit, and she intended to see just how far that spirit could go. The stars above Arendor twinkled with possibility. Humanity had survived the attack, and they would face the Queen's challenges with courage. Elias knew that the days ahead would test him, his colony, and his species in ways he could not yet imagine. But he also knew that humans had something no other species had: the ability to endure, to fight, and to care, even in the face of unimaginable odds. Arendor was quiet once more, the colony slowly recovering from the presence of the Zirath Queen. For days, the humans had lived under her watchful eyes, adjusting to the knowledge that an alien of immense power observed them constantly. Captain Elias Morrow had grown accustomed to the subtle pressure of her attention, though it never fully left him. Every decision, every action was a test, sometimes silent, sometimes deliberate. The colony's rebuild had progressed well. Broken buildings were repaired, machines were brought back online, and the once smoky skies now carried the soft hum of life returning. Children laughed again, though many clung a little tighter to their parents. There was hope, but Elias knew it was fragile. One morning, the calm was shattered. Sensors flared red, alarms blaring across the colony. Elias rushed to the command center with Lieutenant Kara Venz at his side. "What is it?" he demanded, gripping the console. Kara's voice trembled slightly. "It's not the Zirath. Another fleet, Captain. Larger, faster, and heavily armed. They're approaching Arendor at high speed. We've never seen this type before." Elias's eyes narrowed. "Hostile? They're sending no communications. Weapons charging," Kara replied grimly. Elias felt a surge of determination. Humanity had survived Zirath attacks, psychic pain, and near destruction of the colony. But this was a new test. He straightened, addressing the colony over the communication channels. "All able-bodied humans report to defense stations immediately. Civilian evacuations continue, and everyone else stay in shelters. We protect our home, our families, and each other. Remember, humans endure." The incoming fleet descended rapidly, sleek and dark, unlike anything humanity had ever faced. Elias knew that the Zirath Queen watched silently, her curiosity undoubtedly piqued. But for now he could not think of her, only of the lives at stake. The alien vessels unleashed their attack. Energy beams streaked through the atmosphere, obliterating incoming structures and testing human defenses. The colony's turrets fired back, and for a moment it seemed hopeless. The enemy's shields absorbed most of the human weaponry, and casualties mounted. Elias ran between defense points, coordinating fire, repairing critical systems, and lifting morale. He shouted orders, his voice firm, his presence commanding. Humans moved with precision and courage, inspired by his calm determination in the face of overwhelming odds. "Elias," Kara shouted, pointing at a malfunctioning energy relay critical to the colony's shield. "It's going to fail!" Without hesitation, Elias sprinted to the relay, dodging falling debris and bursts of alien fire. Sparks flew as he manually rerouted energy flows, his hands steady despite the chaos. With a final adjustment, the shield stabilized, deflecting the next wave of attacks and saving the civilians below. The humans fought bravely, but the alien fleet was relentless. Elias realized that brute force would not win this battle. They needed strategy, ingenuity, and something the aliens could not anticipate: human creativity. He called his senior engineers together. Listen carefully. Their weapons are fast, precise, but predictable. We need to make them miscalculate, confuse them, force errors. I want decoys, traps, and automated turrets in unpredictable patterns. Use their speed against them. Humans survive by thinking differently, and we're about to prove it. The engineers nodded, inspired by Elias's clarity and confidence. Within hours, the colony transformed. Holographic decoys created illusions of movement across multiple sectors. Automated turrets adjusted firing patterns randomly, and traps lured enemy ships into vulnerable positions. The humans' ingenuity turned their small, damaged colony into a tactical fortress. The alien fleet responded, but their attacks became disorganized. Ships collided, weapons misfired, and one by one the humans gained the upper hand. Every time a new threat appeared, humans adapted faster than expected, exploiting the enemy's rigidity. Elias moved with the calm precision of someone who had endured far worse. His mind, sharpened by psychic trauma and survival, saw solutions where others would see only danger. Kara fought alongside him, coordinating teams and civilians, proving herself a capable leader under pressure. Through it all, the Zereth Queen watched silently, her vessel hovering above the colony. She observed the humans' responses, their courage, their ingenuity, and their unwillingness to yield. Every decision Elias made, every risk taken, every act of compassion in the heat of battle impressed her. By evening, the alien fleet was in disarray. Their precise formations had collapsed and many ships were retreating, their attacks no longer coordinated. Humanity had survived. Humanity had won. Elias stood on the cliff overlooking the battlefield, surveying the wreckage of the alien fleet. The colony was battered but still alive. The humans had proved themselves in ways no one, not even the Zerath, could have anticipated. A small vessel descended from the Queen's ship, landing near Elias. The Queen herself stepped forward, her glowing eyes locked on him. She moved with the same grace and authority that had defined her arrival weeks ago. "You have done more than survive," she said, her voice resonating in his mind. "You have endured, led, and shown adaptability beyond expectation. Your species, it is remarkable. You act not just with logic, but with spirit, courage, and compassion. You are extraordinary." Elias wiped sweat from his brow, his body still aching from the day's exertion. "We do what we must," he said simply. "We survive, we protect each other, and we adapt. That is what humans do." The Queen's gaze softened slightly, but the intensity remained. "Yes, and that is why I have watched you. Not because you are strong in body or clever in strategy, but because your species embodies endurance that is rare in the galaxy. You do not surrender, even when faced with forces far beyond your understanding. You endure." Elias felt a strange pride tempered with humility. He had survived psychic torment, alien attacks, and now a massive fleet. He had led humans through chaos and emerged victorious. And yet he remained aware of the Queen's continued interest, knowing that the challenges were far from over. Later, as the colony repaired and civilians returned to their routines, Elias walked among them, offering guidance and encouragement. The people looked to him not just as a captain, but as a symbol of what humanity could achieve when faced with impossible odds. The young Zerath child occasionally appeared, playing and laughing with human children. She had grown stronger, her presence a reminder of the bond that had formed between human and alien, forged in pain and endurance. Elias found himself watching her quietly, recognizing the significance of the connection, not just between them, but between humanity and a species far older and more powerful than their own. One evening, Kara approached Elias while he repaired a section of the colony's energy grid. "Captain?" "The Queen is pleased," she said, her tone filled with quiet awe. "She has observed your leadership, your decisions, and your resilience. She respects you." Elias nodded. "I don't know if I deserve respect from her. I just do what must be done." "That's exactly it," Kara said, smiling. "That's why she admires you. You endure because it is right, not because you seek her approval." Elias allowed himself a small smile, though his mind remained vigilant. The Queen had seen what humans could do, but he knew that her attention would continue. This victory, as significant as it was, marked only one chapter of a larger story. As the sun set over the colony, Elias stood on the cliffs, looking out at the horizon. The alien ships were gone, the skies quiet once more, but the knowledge that they could return, or that the Queen's curiosity could lead to unforeseen challenges, lingered. He clenched his fists, feeling the familiar echo of endurance in his body. Humanity had survived the unthinkable once again. They had endured psychic pain, alien attacks, and impossible odds, and they had triumphed through courage, ingenuity, and unity. Somewhere above, the Queen's vessel glimmered faintly, observing, calculating, and understanding. Elias had proven that humans could endure, not just survive, but inspire respect across the galaxy. And the Queen knew that this was only the beginning. Humanity had shown its worth, not through strength alone, but through the enduring spirit of a species that refused to surrender. Elias turned back toward the colony, the night air cool against his face. He knew challenges would come again. He knew that the Queen's attention could bring both opportunity and danger. But he also knew that humans, with their resilience, courage, and ingenuity, could face whatever the universe sent their way. The stars above Arendor twinkled with possibility. Humanity had proved itself, and Elias understood that the story was far from over. The Queen would continue to watch, to test, and perhaps even to learn. And humanity, guided by courage and endurance, would continue to rise to meet every challenge, because that was what humans did. The morning sun rose over Arendor, casting golden light across the repaired colony. The air smelled of fresh earth and clean metal, a reminder that life continued despite the trials they had faced. Captain Elias Morrow stood on the cliff overlooking the settlement, watching humans move about their daily tasks. Children laughed, parents worked, and machines hummed in quiet efficiency. The colony was alive again, but Elias's eyes were drawn upward to the sky where the silver-blue vessel of the Zirath Queen hovered silently. She had not left, and he knew she would not. For weeks she had watched humanity endure, adapt, and triumph. Now her attention was focused entirely on him. Elias felt the weight of that gaze but did not flinch. He had endured psychic agony, alien attacks, and near-impossible odds. He had led humans to victory, demonstrating ingenuity, courage, and compassion. Whatever the Queen sought now, he would meet it as he always had, with resolve. The Queen's vessel descended slowly, landing in the central plaza of the colony. A hush fell over the humans. They had come to respect Elias as a leader, and now they waited, uncertain as the most powerful alien in the galaxy made her presence known. The ramp extended, and the Queen stepped down. Her silver-blue skin glimmered in the sunlight, her eyes shining with intelligence and curiosity. The humans around her remained still, unsure whether she was a threat or a blessing. Elias moved to meet her, standing tall despite the lingering echoes of past pain. "Captain Elias Morrow," she said, her voice echoing in the minds of those who could sense it. "You have proven what I suspected. Humans endure when others would fail. You have acted with courage, ingenuity, and compassion. You have led your species through challenges that would have broken others. For this I recognize you," Elias nodded. "I did what any human would do. I protected my people, my home, and the innocent." The Queen's gaze softened slightly, though it remained commanding. "Yes, and that is precisely why you have captured my attention. I have observed humanity, your decisions, your resilience. You have proven that strength is not merely physical or technological, it is moral, emotional, and intellectual. You are extraordinary." The humans around them murmured in awe, though Elias remained focused on the Queen. He understood that her admiration carried both promise and danger. She was not a simple ally. She was a being of immense power, capable of influencing the fate of the colony, and perhaps the entire human species. "I am grateful for your recognition," Elias said, his voice steady. "But I serve my people first. I cannot leave them, not even for you." The Queen regarded him silently for a moment, her eyes searching his mind, then spoke with surprising gentleness. "That is why you are remarkable. Most would accept power, position, or safety. You choose responsibility, loyalty, and compassion. Humanity, through you, has shown qualities I have rarely observed in any species." Her words carried weight, but Elias sensed there was more. He felt a subtle shift in her presence, as if she were testing not his strength, but his spirit. "Elias Morrow," she said finally, "I offer you a choice. You may join me, stand at my side as an ambassador between our species. You would have access to knowledge, technology, and influence beyond your imagination, or you may remain here with your colony, continuing to protect your people. No harm will come to you for your decision, but know that the opportunity is rare and perhaps singular. Elias took a deep breath, considering her words. The offer was tempting: knowledge, power, and the chance to shape the future of both humans and Zirath. But he knew his duty. His people depended on him. He could not abandon them for prestige, no matter how grand. I cannot leave, he said firmly. My place is here with my people. I will continue to protect them, to lead them, and to endure whatever challenges come. That is my responsibility. The Queen's eyes glimmered with something almost like admiration. I expected this answer, she said softly. Few would have the courage to refuse such an opportunity. Your choice is rare even among your species. It confirms what I have learned. Humanity is defined not by its strength alone, but by its spirit. Elias felt a weight lift from his shoulders. He had survived, endured, and led, and now he had been recognized, not for fame or power, but for embodying the very essence of human resilience. The Queen extended her hand, and Elias felt a wave of calm. He did not need to touch it. The gesture was symbolic. I respect your choice, Elias Morrow, she said.
I will remain an observer, a friend, and an ally.
Humanity has earned my admiration, and I will ensure that the bonds between our species endure. The young Zirath child, now fully recovered and vibrant, ran forward and placed a small hand on Elias's shoulder. She looked up at him with eyes full of gratitude and trust. Thank you, she said simply. Elias knelt to meet her gaze. You're welcome, he said softly. Stay safe. Grow strong, and remember that strength comes not from power alone, but from compassion and courage. The Queen watched quietly, her expression thoughtful. This is why I have observed humans, she said. Your choices, your endurance, and your loyalty. They have shown me that humanity is extraordinary. You, Elias, are a symbol of what is possible when a species refuses to surrender to fear or despair. Over the following days, the Queen's presence became less imposing. She maintained her watchful observation, but no longer tested the humans overtly. Instead, she shared knowledge and insights, offering guidance without interference. The colony adapted to her presence, finding a balance between caution and curiosity. Elias continued to lead, guiding the colony through reconstruction, resource management, and training. He taught the humans not only to survive but to thrive, using ingenuity and teamwork to overcome challenges. The lessons learned during the attacks and the Queen's observation shaped a new generation of leaders and thinkers. At night, Elias often sat on the cliffs, gazing at the stars. He thought of the Zirath Queen, her daughter, and the trials they had faced together. Humanity had endured, and in doing so, had proven its worth not just to themselves but to one of the galaxy's most powerful species. The Queen's vessel remained in orbit, a silent guardian and observer. Elias knew that she would continue to watch, but he no longer felt the pressure as a threat. Instead, it was a reminder of the connection they had forged, a bridge between species, built on respect, endurance, and courage. One evening, as the suns dipped below the horizon, the Queen approached Elias personally. Her eyes glimmered softly in the fading light. You have shown me the essence of humanity, she said. Your courage, your compassion, and your endurance are qualities I will carry with me always. And through you, I have learned that a species' true strength lies not in power alone, but in the choices it makes, the love it holds, and the spirit it carries. Elias nodded, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. Thank you, he said. But it is not just me. Humanity endures together because we care for each other and refuse to give up. That is our strength. The Queen's gaze softened further, almost as if she were smiling. Yes, that is what makes your species extraordinary. And that is why I will honor our bond. You and your people will have my protection and guidance, as long as you continue to endure, to act with courage, and to choose what is right. Elias looked out over the colony, seeing the humans bustling with life, rebuilding homes and nurturing children. He felt a deep pride not for himself, but for the people he had led, protected, and inspired. Humanity had faced unimaginable challenges and had emerged stronger, wiser, and more united than ever before. The young Zirath child ran to his side, holding his hand briefly before returning to the humans around her. Elias watched her go, knowing that she too had been changed by the experiences they had shared. There was a connection now, a bond between species, that promised understanding and peace for the future. As the stars appeared above Arendor, twinkling in the clear night sky, Elias felt a quiet confidence. Humanity had endured trials no other species could have survived. They had proven their resilience, ingenuity, and moral strength. And through it all, they had earned respect across the galaxy. The Queen's vessel hovered silently above, a reminder that the universe was vast and full of possibilities. But Elias no longer felt fear. Humanity had faced pain, danger, and uncertainty, and had triumphed. They had shown the galaxy what it meant to endure, to act with courage, and to lead with compassion. And as Elias stood there, watching the colony thrive under the twin suns, he knew that this was only the beginning. Humanity's journey had only just begun, but they would face every challenge, every threat, and every unknown with the same spirit that had brought them this far. The Queen had chosen to respect humanity. Humanity had chosen to endure, and in that mutual recognition, a new chapter began, one where humans could rise not just as survivors, but as a species capable of inspiring awe, respect, and hope across the stars. Elias turned back toward the colony, the night wind brushing against his face. He was no longer just a man who had survived. He was a leader, a symbol, and a reminder of what humans could accomplish. And the universe, vast and full of wonder, awaited the enduring spirit of humanity. Because humans, above all else, endured.